Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 18 of the Lost One podcast. This is, I think, our fourth attempt now.
But who's counting?
Yeah, at recording, so hopefully we won't run into technical issues again. But as always, I'm your host, Shenzo the Lost. Joining me today, or should I say welcoming back today after a 2-month absence, we have Shoshima1016, aka Shoshima, and we have SamuraiNoodlez. And yes, I had a brain fart. I had to really think about who I was pointing to. I apologize. It's been a long night, okay?
You would think on the fourth attempt you'd have it down by now.
You would think, but, I use a lot of brain power in my regular day job, okay?
Smacking your head against the desk is not brain power.
Yes, it is.
You lose brain power that way, though.
There was no fourth attempt.
Yeah.
Now you get to put up with our bullshit.
First.
Yeah, God. I missed you guys. Not. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
But,
Then
no,
I'm
if you have been watching, I have been interviewing a series of guests, ranging from close friends of mine, Kitty Aaron, the Pumas, Tech Unicorn, and Cloudless One, and of course to Chad James, over the last several weeks. We missed last week, and that was due to technical and scheduling issues.
I believe it's pronounced Chad motherfucking James.
I did not drop that at all during the podcast.
I wouldn't be strong enough.
But I did sneak in internet famous Chad James at the end.
I caught that.
Yeah, he said he owed somebody money about that. So sorry, Chad. Love you, bud. But yeah, so we're back, and a lot has happened. Obviously, it's been about 2 months, as I mentioned, and God, let's just kind of run through a brief summary of everything we missed, and we'll talk about a couple of them.
Okay.
But the internet was on fire.
Yeah.
We had Elon Musk bought Twitter and promptly set it on fire. Figuratively, of course.
If you say so. It seems pretty literal.
We had a... well, Twitter HQ hasn't burned down yet, so it's not that literal.
Hashtag yet.
We had, here in the United States, at the time of this recording, we're 2 days off from the midterm elections, which, is always fun. Long story short, we still don't really know the final results of that because of outstanding close votes. But right now, it is looking like Democrats will hang on to the Senate and Republicans will take control of the House. Of course, obviously, a lot could happen by the time we're recording this, and of course, when the episode releases. But that's where it stands as of the time of this recording, which is Thursday. So, on election week. So that's, I think, the 10th? It's the 10th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. As you guys can tell, I am completely all here today. And on top of things. But
we're professionals.
We are.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do kind of want to talk more about what's been going on with Twitter. There's been a lot happening. It has been a crazy last couple weeks in the Twitterverse, with Musk buying it after trying to back out of the deal and then getting sued.
Yeah.
And then...
Wow, I'm sorry. You just unlocked a core memory all of a sudden. I forgot he got sued to buy Twitter.
Yeah, because he signed an agreement and then tried to back out of it.
Because he realized how stupid the figure was.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm big dick Elon Musk. I have all this money.
No, he didn't.
No.
And yeah, he ended up buying Twitter, and after discovery happened, and he was basically publicly humiliated with a whole bunch of his text messages that were released to the court during what's a process known as discovery. Again, we're not lawyers, but this is what happened. And then all of a sudden, after these text messages came out that basically showed that Musk was not a genius, shock.
What?
He quickly agreed to buy Twitter, took over, ended up firing 50% of the staff, demanding a very quick turnaround time with the verification system, which Samurai mentioned in a previous recording, that was originally 2 check marks. But literally, I think it was hours after the second check mark, or it was this official one underneath their name. So, you had the blue verified check mark right next to their name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then underneath it was another in black or white.
Yeah, wasn't it the ugly check mark?
Yeah, it was the ugly one, and it said official under it. And I think it was 3 hours after it launched, if that, Musk pulled the plug on it. So to kind of recap,
Well,
he ordered all of his engineers to totally change up how the verification system worked and to program this new official check mark underneath them. Fired half of the staff in the middle of this. Then realized, oh crap, we fired half of the engineers, we need to get this done. Had to beg them to come back for their jobs. They launched it yesterday, at the time of this recording, and then immediately pulled the plug.
Sounds all right.
To his credit, he did tweet out, a lot of dumb things are gonna probably happen. That's an understatement.
Yeah, that's a huge understatement, because we haven't even covered like the biggest issues with Twitter, but let's just kind of address all of that first. So
one thing I just wanted to mention, like in this whole like shitstorm, is like that whole like announcement of the pricing, and like how within hours it changed. Because that was my favorite thing. Because I saw like it was official, because I didn't even have the fucking pricing to get the check mark.
It was originally $20.
Yes.
I don't remember.
20 minutes later? I mean, how quick was that turnaround?
I don't remember who it was, but like it was another verified account. And I think it might have been Stephen King, actually.
Stephen King.
I think it was Stephen King. And he was like, I won't even, like, no one in their right mind is going to pay for this. Like, that was what Stephen, like, essentially the crux of what Stephen King said. And then Musk responded, what if I lower the price to, like, $8?
Like, he's, like, on Twitter, like, they're like, haggling prices. What is this, fucking Twitter swap meet now?
Yeah. And it's like, if you
He's
know...
getting bullied by Stephen King.
Yeah, if you know anything about Stephen King, like, the dude is very outspoken, okay, about his beliefs. Like, regardless of, like, what you think about him as an author.
Yeah.
He's extremely outspoken, and you know,
well, he's intelligent too. He's not just an idiot.
Yeah,
like Musk.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like, you know, he's you know, I always have viewed Stephen King as very intelligent, and you know, even though I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of his books, like the fact that he can like crank out all these different styles and be like really successful, and then he goes on Twitter and he's more articulate than like most of our politicians.
It's because he writes for a living, duh.
Right? But, I mean, hey, Sean Boland has an English major, and, I mean, we've heard him butcher the English language sometimes, so, you know, just because you study writing and you write doesn't necessarily mean you're good for it. That's why you have editors.
Yeah, doesn't mean you know English.
Yeah.
You guys remember Shaolin Showdown?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Well, one of the lines that I remember from that show was like, we're going to do to you what Omi did to that sentence.
Oh, yes!
Yeah, because Omi always messes up idioms.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always messes up idioms, and that's something that they did with the Ziva in NCIS as well. Same thing.
Yeah.
She you know, as a non-English speaker, not native English speaker,
yes.
Mess up a lot of idioms. But
actually, I have a podcast I listen to where a native English speaker messes up the idioms too. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, you know, look, I only speak English, and as I'm sure you guys have heard on this podcast, and if not on my stream, I butcher the English language all the time. Just because you're a best-selling author doesn't necessarily mean you're great at the English language. Am I right? I mean, come on. But yeah, to Shoshima's point, yeah, Musk, like, literally, it's just he's literally
has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, he's flying by the seat of his pants.
Yeah, and when you're haggling, like, usually this would be like in boardrooms.
Yeah,
and like in meetings, and everyone's talking about it, and he's like on Twitter figuring out how much he should charge people per month
publicly for everybody to see, and. Yeah, and so, you know, it's just been a disaster across the board. And, you know, I just kind of want to offer a little bit of insight before I kind of turn it over to you, Samurai. But, like, going back to, like, the whole, we need to reprogram the entire verification system. Like, there's two really important things. And one is that the verification system originated because of the problem we're now seeing on Twitter. Because they've launched this, like, $8 to get this blue check mark, we're now seeing a whole ton of, like, impersonator accounts with the Twitter verification now that they paid for.
Yep.
Tweeting out misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole reason the Twitter verification system exists in the first place
So this exact instance does not happen.
was because they got sued over someone impersonating somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally what happened. Twitter went to court, got sued because of an impersonation account. And we've already seen that happen now. So, again, it's like, by that itself, like, I think we could end the conversation right there. But this is a podcast. If we didn't have a conversation, what the hell are we doing?
You want to hear our stupid bullshit?
So what I want to also mention is this whole like 7-day thing, them firing the developers. So there's two things I want to be very clear about. Is that for those that don't know, I am a developer in real life. That is my real life occupation. Okay, a 7-day turnaround for a brand new feature to revamp a new feature on a huge platform like Twitter is a ridiculous ask. It's a ridiculous ask for a company a tenth of the size of Twitter. It is very, very, very silly, and just really shows that Musk has no clue what he's doing. The second thing is that the way he ended up firing his developers, and this hasn't been confirmed, but have you guys heard this story yet about how he chose which developers to fire?
No.
No.
Allegedly, and I do want to say allegedly, I don't want to get sued, Musk went in, looked at how many lines of code a developer wrote over the last like year, and then fired the ones who wrote the least.
Seems legit.
For those who are not familiar
What?
with programming, writing a lot of lines of code does not equal not working. It usually means we are working on harder, more difficult challenges, so we are writing less code. That's what it normally means. So effectively,
Or efficiency.
yeah, effectively, Musk went and fired probably his best engineers. And again, that's all speculation, but that's what it sounds like based on the rumor and innuendo.
So homie Thanos snapped all the best people.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems legit.
Yeah. So yeah, he went in and then Thanos snapped, and yeah, and then also apparently he potentially violated a whole bunch of labor laws, not just here in the United States because Twitter HQ is based in California, but in Ireland, which has much stricter employment laws than we do, labor laws. That's not saying much. Most places in Europe have much better labor laws than we do.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like, so basically he just in like his first like couple days, he already like opened up Twitter into like all this potential legal trouble and made a total fool of himself in the process. And again, this is like the first like 7 days of his ownership.
But see, this is really the 4D chess that Elon Musk is playing, this 200 IQ play. If he burns down Twitter, no one can make fun of him on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just have to make fun of him literally everywhere else, like this podcast.
Fuck you, Elon.
For those who are listening without video, I just did the Mick Foley, like, cheesy 2 thumbs up, but if you don't know who Mick Foley is, just,
Get cultured, son.
Yeah. Learn of the sacrifice he made by getting thrown off of a 32-foot high steel cage into an announce table. Check that out.
Yeah, that was a sacrifice. He also gave us Mr. Sacco.
He did give us Mr. Sacco, yes.
Those were the days.
It was. Mick Foley, personal hero of mine. Also, fun fact, went to high school with my mom.
What? I've never heard this before.
Yeah, fun fact.
No, I've heard it a lot.
Yeah, I know, you've heard it a lot. so
For everyone else, though.
I'm talking to the listeners, assuming we have any.
Oh, well, yeah, but we're here. We're not internet famous Chad motherfucking James.
That is true. Although, surprisingly, viewership-wise, the Pumas channel, the Pumas episode was actually the most viewed so far.
Well, that's because the Pumas are the best.
They are. This is true. This is true statements. Chad is, I think, a close second.
Oh, the Pumas also were waiting a hurricane today.
Yeah, that's true. So for those that don't know, the Pumas are in Disney in Florida, Disney World in Florida.
They're trying to enjoy a vacation at Disney World and have to wait for a motherfucking low... It was like a low class, but a hurricane to pass through so they could go to Disney World.
Yeah.
What's more Florida than that?
I don't want to answer that question.
Oh.
But let me say this, Florida man. That's more Florida.
Oh.
But that's another story. Aliens. Hey, hang on. Aliens.
Oh wait, I cut my hair. That's what's happened in the last podcast.
Yeah.
I cut my hair.
Yeah, that is another thing. So
I don't look like a hobo.
But anyway, back to Tesla, and by Tesla I mean Musk, and Twitter.
The Tesla
But
Musk.
Tesla is also relevant because, Samurai, we haven't really given you a chance to kind of comment on what we talked about. So before I dive into that story, let's get you involved in this. So like, what's your been take watching all of this? Like again, just like the first 7 days of like Musk owning Twitter.
Oh man. Okay, so a while ago, I tweeted out something saying, "How do I social media again?" Because quite literally, I haven't been on Twitter in like ages.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I commented on that too.
Yeah. The reply that I put after that was, "No, seriously, that is more relevant today than ever."
Yeah.
Because what the
Yeah.
fuck is going on Twitter? Uh, Kathy Griffin has been banned. Did you hear about that?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
along with Daniel Radcliffe and
Oh,
several
I
others.
did hear
Yeah.
Daniel Radcliffe was banned, even though he like never uses Twitter.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Ethan Klein.
Yep, and
Yeah.
they were banned because, well, so Daniel Radcliffe was banned as a side effect of what happened with Kathy Griffin and Klein and others.
Oh, okay.
Is that, as you can imagine, a lot of people went on to Twitter because Musk's like whole thing was, oh, we want to be the most like free, open speech, First Amendment friendly platform, right?
Okay.
So one of the things that the First Amendment protects, which fans of Weird Al Yankovic will know very well, is the right of parody. Here in the United States, we have parody laws where the First Amendment protects your right to parody and make fun of public figures and other, famous individuals, anything that's basically in the public interest that's protected by the First Amendment.
Okay.
So Kathy Griffin and a bunch of others changed their profile picture to mask Elon Musk's, or to mimic Elon Musk, and then changed their display name to Elon Musk.
It's all making sense now.
And then proceeded to make fun of him consistently. Musk got butthurt and basically went on like a Twitter rant.
So he threw the ban hammer.
Yes. And he basically made up a new rule on the spot where parody has to be like put in the name and on the, and in the description and all that. And I want to be really clear, not a lawyer, but as a private company, when you sign that terms of use agreement, that is not a First Amendment violation for Musk to ban Kathy Griffin from his platform. He owns it. He can do that. So I want to be very clear.
Yeah, he's not breaking a law.
He's not breaking a law.
But out of curiosity, it's still like it said Elon Musk, but then at whatever
Kathy Griffin.
Yeah.
So the app
any
was
idiot
still right.
can actually know it's not Elon Musk.
Yes, but the problem is we have a lot of idiots on Twitter.
Well, there is.
and so that is like, again, going back to the fact that Twitter got sued over this, like it was the same thing. It's a problem for sure. But of course, again, Kathy Griffin and these other comedians and other celebrities were basically baiting Elon, and he took it hook, line, and sinker, and basically just proved that he's the thin-skinned weasel who can't take criticism and, who's entirely run by his ego. And yes, I stand by that. Come at me, Musk fans.
So Kathy Griffin masterly baited Elon Musk.
Yes.
She masturbated him.
No.
Oh.
Because by definition of being a master baiter, that is a self thing.
Oh. Hey, it was a stretch, but I went for it, guys.
Yeah, and we are all slightly dumber and with less brain cells because of it, so thank you.
So let's log on to Twitter.
But, yeah, so basically, what ended up happening is, yeah, he got thin, he was, showed how thin-skinned he was, and he banned a bunch of them, and basically made up a new rule that's like, oh, parody and impersonation accounts will,
and that's what Daniel Radcliffe did?
So, Radcliffe is separate, because Radcliffe is playing Weird Al Yankovic in
the new movie.
In the new Weird Al biopic, which is, of course, a parody of actual biopics. Out now on the Roku channel here in the United States. Go watch it.
Hey.
Hashtag not sponsored. But he had switched his thing to like Weird Al, his like name and his picture to like him in like his Weird Al costume and everything, to promote the movie. So the best theory is he got banned because he was impersonating Weird Al.
So he finally uses social media to promote a fucking movie.
Yeah.
And he gets banned for it.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because of the new policy on parody.
That seems legit.
Yes.
That was
Speaking
created out of thin air.
Yes.
Random
On Twitter.
Quick side note, since we brought up Daniel Radcliffe,
yeah.
I do want to see him as Wolverine now that it's been brought up on social media.
Yeah, that is a fan casting for sure.
Yeah.
However, Radcliffe has unfortunately poured a bit of cold water on that recently.
Oh, has he?
He basically said he's not interested in doing a getting locked in a role again like he was with Harry Potter.
I get it. I don't blame him.
So again, but with that being said, it wants to be said, Hugh Jackman also said he was never coming back as Wolverine. He was done.
Yeah, and he's coming back.
He's coming back. So
which is also dashing my dreams of Daniel Radcliffe being Wolverine. But I'm not mad.
Also, I do want to mention as well that Radcliffe has a history of trolling the media.
Yeah.
So,
but I really could see where he's coming from on that.
No, 100%. Like that's what I want to say. I respect it, and if that's what he really wants to do, he's obviously had a lot of success post Harry Potter. But
didn't after Harry Potter. Well, we don't have to keep going into Daniel Radcliffe stuff.
Yeah, but long story short, just to kind of wrap up on that is that. Yeah, it's never say never, right? Mm-hmm. It's like that old adage in wrestling. And we still need to do a wrestling podcast, by the way.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah, we need to do that. We already brought up Mick Foley, so...
I know, because we're cultured.
Yeah, extremely.
Slowly waiting.
Yes. So, with that kind of being said, the next story is what's been happening on Twitter now. As we've kind of alluded to, the $8 impersonation
charge
has gone live, and luckily, thank God, the one bare minimum amount of credit I'm going to give Musk and those at Twitter is they didn't do this before the election, because they were planning on launching it on Monday, November 7th, the day before the midterms.
No. That would have been fucking great.
It would have been chaos. And given that, as of right now, we still don't even know the results, could you imagine how much
of chaos
craziness it would have been?
No, I know. That would have been too much.
Especially after what happened in 2020, my God. But
yeah, no, because a lot of people use Twitter as a news resource,
yeah,
honestly.
Rightfully so. And
I'm not saying they should. I'm saying they do.
You all right there, Samurai?
I think I broke him again.
Twitter as a news source.
Here's the reason why is because it's in the era of clickbait headlines.
Yeah.
Twitter's really easy, and the other thing is that for independent journalists, it's a really good way for them to get out there. I follow several journalists on Twitter and get a lot of news from them because they have proven to be reliable.
I guess it's the same way as any Twitch streamer and all that would use Twitter. So yeah, I guess there are a lot of eyes that are on Twitter.
Yeah, well, and I don't know how many there are now, but
yeah, lies and lies. Speaking of independent journalists, rest in peace, Nibel.
Nibel?
Yeah, it's a Twitter account that would always report video game news.
Oh yeah,
and they within 15 seconds would have video game news. And they recently reported they're not going to be doing anymore, just financially wasn't sustainable.
Yeah, that unfortunately, journalism is like a lot of fields here in the United States is very underappreciated for the work they actually do.
Yeah.
There are legitimate problems, of course, in journalism, looking at you, Fox News and OAN and...
Yeah. Because I know they had a Patreon and stuff, but... Yeah, after a couple of months, it just didn't work out for them.
Yeah, but, it's something people unfortunately take for granted. And, so that I'm sorry to hear that. But on the flip side now, they might be a good time to kind of find another line of work anyway with the way Twitter's going.
Exactly.
And
Twitter's your main platform.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And just kind of... Oh, go ahead, Samurai.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, side note, because you mentioned OAN. Back when I was looking for a job, I got a call to interview for this position as a video editor for this news network.
Oh no!
Not knowing too much about them.
Yeah,
you said, "Oh boy, a news network."
I was like, huh. This sounds kind of familiar, though. I looked at it and I was just like, oh, I remember now. And I sent an email back to them. Are you sure? I'm pretty. No, I wasn't
I
gonna
think
go
you
for it.
messaged the wrong guy.
Like just a little. You kind of.
So for those who don't know, real quick, OAN is One American News, and they are basically known for their extreme right-wing talking points, skewing the news. Think like the Sinclair Network, but way worse, and that's saying something.
Do I look like an extreme right wing person?
I can't answer that because I canceled the last recording.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway, I did not know that. So that's an interesting story. But
Yeah, that was a few years back, and yeah.
yeah. Anyway, let's kind of veer off from that. I did not want to get too deep into politics or the midterms today, but yeah, OAN is definitely a symptom of I refuse to call them journalists, honestly. But in fairness, I don't think there's a lot of like mainstream media that is doing actual journalism anymore.
Yeah.
They're doing clickbaity headlines and articles, but that's another story. We'll go into Shenzo's problems with journalism at another time.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure.
if we have a clickbait podcast, I know some good stories.
Oh yeah,
I watched 30 minutes of their show, and yeah, that's a fair assumption. I mean, we kind of knew that already, but
yeah,
I just wanted to give them a fair chance. I think 30 minutes was good.
yeah. No, I mean, well, that's the thing, right? It's like I think anybody deserves. Oh, Samurai is glitching out again. He is not doing a weird like back and forth dance. Everybody, he is his video has shorted out
Hello?
again. Yeah, you're still here.
No.
We still hear you, but
you're slowly being corrupted by AON.
Yeah. Musk heard us talking shit about him, and or OAN did, and they're hacking in. Okay, you're back
He's
now.
back, baby.
Okay,
So-
okay.
So I do want to apologize to any viewers. We've been running into this issue literally all night. This is our fourth recording, so we're just gonna kind of roll with it now. So if you see Samurai's video start to cut out, apologies, but
I blame
we don't know
Mike.
what's up with
You know
Discord
why.
tonight. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll just roll with it.
Yeah, so let's kind of move on from Musk, but I do want to end on this note: is that the latest news is that two executives resigned today, and the reason why this is notable is because one of them was their securities executive, and basically they said that it's now going to come down to the engineers to
So they're vulnerable.
to match FTC requirements.
Seems legit, right?
And this is the same group of engineers that just got their numbers decimated not that long ago. And on top of that, Twitter is also currently losing I think it's like billions of dollars right now.
Just hemorrhaging money.
They're hemorrhaging money. Advertisers are pulling out because the space is no longer advertiser friendly.
Yeah.
Big shock. And Musk basically put basically had a call where he confirmed that he sold a whole bunch of Tesla stock to try and keep Twitter afloat. So there's a very good chance that Twitter could be facing bankruptcy soon.
Yeah, and he was trying to blame Twitter, right?
Musk is the type of individual who will never take responsibility for anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to say what he was saying because I don't remember it very clearly. And I don't want to just dump on him and get it wrong.
Okay.
But long story short, this call today was not encouraging. It basically, he gave all employees an hour to appear at this meeting. Then he was 15 minutes late to the start of the meeting. Then he announced that he was ending remote work at Twitter. And he basically told them that if they don't show up to the office, he's accepting their resignation. So he basically lost another percentage of his force. Yeah, it just went downhill from there, where he even floated the possibility of possibly filing for bankruptcy. So he
Can
really
you
hasn't done
file
a
for?
good job of reassuring the advertisers or his employees or the users that Twitter has a future.
Can you file for bankruptcy immediately after buying a company?
That's a great question, and I honestly don't know the answer.
Because like it just doesn't sound logistically like I'm sure you can,
Yeah,
but it doesn't sound like you should be allowed to.
Darth Canucks, from Hang Time, he's one of the mods from Hang Time.
Yeah.
He and I have had several conversations about normally Batman. Canucks is a big DC fan, but we've been talking a lot about Twitter and Tesla and Musk, and Canucks is floating the theory that Musk is looking to probably sell Twitter as quickly as possible. But again, like I don't know the laws in that, like regards to like the
Yeah,
purchase
how
and stuff
quick you
like
can
that. I don't
sell
know
it,
how
yeah.
quick the turnaround is. So, but yeah, long story short, Twitter does not look like it has much of a future with Musk's leadership. And I'm just gonna end with this. If you guys would like to chime in on any last thoughts,
Yeah, I have one more last thought on Twitter.
the illusion of Musk being a genius, I think, has been completely and utterly shattered.
Yeah. No, I remember when he was first in the media limelight, I'm like, oh, like this awesome dude like thought of electric cars in a way to like actually finally make them. And now I'm realizing, yeah, no, he's just some like Giga Chad.
With a lot of money.
Yeah.
He was just the personality and face
Yeah.
that brought it into the limelight.
The one thing I will give him credit for is that he saw an opening in the EV market, and he was the first to jump on it.
Yeah.
So, and even with like SpaceX as well, like with U.S. federal funding of like NASA always in question,
Mm-hmm.
it was another opportunity to privatize space. So the one thing I will give him for is he does seem to be able to recognize good opportunities,
Yeah.
but it's very clear that like at this point the only reason I think he's been successful, and again this is just my opinion, is because he literally hasn't had a lot of competition in any of his major business ventures.
Mm-hmm.
Tesla was the only name in the game for a long time,
Correct.
but now the other car makers are getting in on the EV action.
Whether they want to or not.
Caribbean.
That's a whole
Yep.
separate aside.
And then SpaceX, same thing. Like, how many billionaires are willing to like invest a whole bunch of money into rocket technology at this point? There's not very many.
No, not too many.
I think the closest one would probably be Bezos, who actually went into space.
And then Bronson?
Yeah, Bronson,
Branson.
maybe.
A little
Branson.
bit. Branson? Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
I don't keep track of all the billionaires in the country.
Well,
in the world,
yeah,
but-
I mean, I know. Out of the, not gonna lie though, out of that whole race, I was kind of like, "Woo, go Branson," because the other two was just kind of like,
Yeah,
eh.
Branson actually seems like a cool dude. Like,
Yeah, I'll just say this. I'm a natural skeptic. I've had to be over the course of my career. Also, degree in politics, so, kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, like, if you have, like, billions of dollars, I have a problem with you just on, like...
I mean, yeah, because at the end of the day, it was still just a bunch of rich fuckers doing shit that I'll probably never ever get a chance to do.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
The math, but most people don't seem to understand just how much money $1 billion is. And it's, I don't have the exact numbers, but it's like something ridiculous. Like, if you
Yeah.
made $200,000 a year every year from the time, like, Jesus Christ was alive to now, you still wouldn't be a fucking billionaire.
I heard one that put it in good perspective. $1 million is like a pallet full of money.
Yes.
$1 billion is a football field full of those pallets.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's very few people, I think, who can accurately comprehend just how much $1 billion is, and then to have like multi-billion dollars is like a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why I confess I've just been dunking on Musk this entire podcast so far, is because the dude spent like I think it was like $44 billion on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is such a colossal waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even funny. So
Might
Sam,
as well just light it on fire.
pretty much, especially with the way he's handled Twitter. But
Which is
speaking
on fire.
Yes. Speaking of companies that have lost a lot of money, Samurai, you had a story for us relating to another social media network that you wanted to
Oh,
share.
dude, everything. Man, the stories sound so similar that I honestly got them crossed, and I couldn't even figure out who did what, like who fucked up worse.
Yeah.
So Facebook,
Meta.
Meta, yeah, no, Meta.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot that
Yeah,
they
they
changed
are
their
the meta
name.
now.
Dumbest. It's one of the dumbest names I've ever heard of. I swear. It's like bad like 2000s edge lord like shit.
He spent so much money on Meta, and it is
Yeah, on the metaverse, you mean?
nowhere. Oh yeah, on the metaverse. He spent so much money on the metaverse. Uh, grossly overestimated uh what it was going to be, and then VR chat. It's nowhere near as good as VR chat, and VR chat is like a cesspool of just fuckery and shit.
Uh,
Oh man.
Full disclaimer: we do not have anything against VR, but we are recognizing that a lot of things in the internet that bring anonymity also come with some negative elements. So we want to just throw that out there. I know for a fact we have at least one viewer who's really big into VR, so I'm just gonna
Hey
throw
man,
that
I really
disclaimer
like
there.
some of the content that comes out of VR chat.
Yeah,
The
I've seen a lot of funny stuff come out of it, but I've also seen like some Brit.
yeah.
I only know
I've
one
seen some
thing
shit.
about VR chat.
Takahata.
Do you know the way?
Oh, do you know them?
Oh man.
You know,
Speaking of which,
you know two
huh?
things. You also know Takahata is in VR.
Oh well, yeah, he's a VTuber.
Yeah.
But I'm saying because VR chat is where that meme spawned.
Oh yes, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Do you know the way?
Which, by the way,
Huh?
really liked how they integrated that in the Sonic 2 movie.
No,
Did you
we're
did
recording
you
right
see
now.
the Sonic 2 movie?
No, I did not see Sonic 2. It came out on my son's birthday, and I
Thank
was
you, no,
like,
but no.
we should go watch it, and it just never worked out.
Okay, sorry about that,
Yeah.
everybody. Haseo decided to ask me a question in the middle of our recording.
Seems legit. Seems like the best time to ask.
So anyway,
We're professionals.
we're extremely professionals. So yeah, let me just shrug that off for a minute. But he means well, but like, come on.
Whoops.
So yeah, but Samurai, to your point, the story you brought up to us is Zuckerberg lost like I think it was like 75% of his stock value or something like
Yeah, I
that.
was about to
Is
say
it that
like,
much?
yes.
It's like
Holy
it's
dick.
like the most money
Right?
lost. It's like the most money lost by like a single company.
Oh, I didn't know it was
Like
that much. I mean, I
Yeah.
figured a lot of money, but it's still like 30% or something.
Yeah, so Zuckerberg just had to announce that he's laying off like I think it was like 11,000 like employees or something like that. It's a lot. Like
Holy
yeah,
shit.
they've taken
No.
some big losses.
But how do you think it feels to be like Zuckerberg and still looking at Musk and being like, well, at least I'm not that guy.
Yeah, right. It's
You know
it's
that
unbelievable that this is the second biggest disaster to strike a social media company.
the funny thing is though, that's the only two social medias I actually use. So once both of these burn down, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do.
So the one thing is Facebook probably isn't going anywhere.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing is like unlike that's kind of the difference. And also apologies, Samurai's video has
Now the
bugged out
metaverse
again.
is attacking him.
Yeah, we just keep talking shit about all these like technical, like
They're
CEO.
coming after us because we're such a big, amazing podcast.
Yeah,
They have to hit us hard.
definitely that.
Uh-huh.
With our 21 subscribers on YouTube.
Hey, they don't know that till you say it.
Dude, my whole shtick is transparency.
Oh. Well then.
But hey, 21, still awesome. Thank you all very
21.
much. Yeah, but it's pretty crazy because yeah, that's the second like biggest disaster for a social media company, which is just amazing. But again, going to my dislike of billionaires, it's like God, could you imagine if like they had actually invested all that money and time into something that was
Actually useful?
actually worthwhile?
Who would have thunk?
Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, we'll rag on more billionaires later. Speaking of people to rag on, Shoshima has something that we actually. So this is like our fourth recording. We didn't get to fit it in during any of them because of technical issues and other things. And yes, Samurai is ecstatic.
Oh
and
wait, there he
now
is.
back.
Ah, he's back.
Yeah! See, we just have to stop talking about the tech. People
Exactly.
fixes it.
We're not talking about meta, and Samurai is back again,
Yeah.
guys. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a weird coincidence,
It's because we're legal now.
right?
They can fuck with us.
God, man.
Sorry.
Don't do that.
Yeah, let's let that. There's a line there, and let's not cross it.
My bad.
Segue.
So
segue.
Shoshima had a story that you wanted to bring up involving one of your personal favorite franchises in video games. So Shoshima, why don't you take us through that?
So, October 15th, my first day off in forever.
Yep.
I am welcomed to Twitter by Helena Taylor, basically telling us to boycott Bayonetta 3 because she was offered an obscenely low amount of money to do the entire voice work for the game. Now, I watched the full, like, I guess she released like 3 videos. I don't know if you guys seen any of them.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so basically, I only watched the first video of the 3-part series.
Mm-hmm.
But she was very quick to mention she asked for, or that they offered her $4,000 to voice the entire 3rd game that she's already done the first 2 for,
Mm-hmm.
and that she denied to do the game.
Yeah, she declined.
Yeah.
So, claiming that they lowballed her.
Yes.
Which, for those that are not familiar with voice acting, and Samurai, you can back me up on this. There is definitely a problem with pay and with work in voice acting right now. It's been a very big issue for a long time. It's one that most voice actors, Stephen J. Bloom, Chris Sabat, and Laura Bailey, and others have been very vocal about in the past and in the present. So what happened, as you can imagine, is the internet saw a cause with an actual problem,
And they rallied behind her.
and they rallied behind her.
I just want to also state, like, in said video, like, she was quick to throw out that figure.
Yes.
She said, I didn't ask for much, or I didn't ask for the world. I just asked for a reasonable wage. Because she went in on, like, she went to 7 years of schooling for voice acting, this, that, which I'm not disagreeing she had talent, but she just was very quick to, like, throw Platinum under the bus.
Yeah.
But not offer, like, her full, to me, what felt like her full side of the story.
Yeah, and it's also notable that she had voiced Bayonetta in 2 previous games.
And yeah, Bayonetta 1, 2, and she voiced Bayonetta in Smash.
Yeah, so she had 3 voice roles as Bayonetta previously prior to 3. And it was announced that another voice actress was cast. And
Correct.
this is where kind of the story starts to fall apart a little bit, is because the voice actress who took over the role,
Which was, oh shit,
whose name is escaping me at the moment, but
Jennifer Hale,
yeah, Jennifer Hale,
who plays Shepard in the Femme Shepard in Mass Effect.
yeah, she is a union voice actress.
Mm-hmm.
So unions generally get to negotiate a higher salary.
Correct.
Yes.
So that was kind of the first, like, wait a minute, like, moment. And we also want to be really clear that, unfortunately, with this mob, they went after Jennifer Hale for taking over the role. This internet
she was
mob that...
literally getting flack about it.
Yeah. And it sucks because Hale is almost certainly under an NDA. She cannot...
Oh, she definitely was. She basically said that without saying it.
Yeah. But again, I have to be careful because we don't want to get sued. So, essentially, there's a pretty strong chance, like Shoshima said, that she's under an NDA. She cannot discuss this. So she can't even defend herself. Lo and behold, Shoshima, why don't you take us into what happened next?
So the next, who was, I don't remember the reporter who reported on it, but from what I've heard, it was a reliable source, said that they offered Helena Taylor it was 3,000 to 4,000 per session.
Which over like 5 or
It
6
was supposed to be
sessions, right?
up to 5 sessions.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be 4-hour sessions. So at least $15,000 to $20,000 is what she was offered.
Yeah.
Is what we're being told. And after she declined that, because she said that was too low, she rebutted. She wanted 6 figures. That's all we know. I don't know if it was exactly 100,000 or what she was asking. Because in the original video, she was trying to make claims that the Bayonetta franchise has made $45 million over the years using her voice, and this, that, and the other.
And those numbers, I again, without having them in front of me, they just don't sound accurate.
No, I mean, Bayonetta 1 came out, it sold so poorly, Nintendo had to front the budget to get Bayonetta 2 off the ground and so on. I mean, it's not that it hasn't made money as a franchise, but it's not selling gangbusters.
Yeah, the only game that she's been a part of, at least that I know of anyway, it's Smash Brothers was a huge selling success, and I highly doubt that she got like a significant cut of that profit.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
But anyway, so long story short, she lied.
Yeah, I mean, it turns out she was offered like 3 to 5 times the amount she claimed
Initially, yeah.
And then what I heard later is that they offered her, after she declined, they offered her a $4,000 cameo to still be in the game and just like at least just do something and still like honor the original Bayonetta.
Yeah. So she took that amount and then
used that to like create her story.
Yeah.
At least that's my interpretation of what happened.
That sounds accurate based on what I read.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk about this a little bit because
I mean, just to kind of like put it in my perspective, I don't think you two care about the Bayonetta franchise too much.
I don't want to say I'm a fan, but like I'm of the opinion that if a team or a studio works hard to make a game, I want to see it successful.
Mm-hmm.
And controversy like this, and taking advantage of your fans' goodwill and good faith to turn them against the studio. I think the director even had to like quit Twitter over the harassment he was getting.
Which then he got flack for, but that's a whole separate aside because of how he acts on Twitter.
Yeah. And so with all that, it's just, and then I think that's just a really big like red line for me, right? But then secondly, you're taking an issue that, again, like we covered at the front, is a known problem within the industry, especially for non-union talent.
Yeah, and it sounds like she's trying to champion that issue.
Mm-hmm.
But then she's doing so by lying about it.
And so she totally undercuts the entire fight that all these other voice actors have been making for years at this point.
Yeah, because I heard claims of, in the Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie, like one of the main voice actors got paid $150 to do the whole movie.
Yeah, that honestly doesn't shock me. I don't know if that's true, but it wouldn't shock me if it was.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But, yeah, I've been, like, looking forward to this game for, like, literal years. Like, they've been talking about it in the Nintendo Directs for forever now.
Yeah.
Like, the game's about to come out, like, what, in a week or two?
Yeah, something like that.
And she goes online and the main voice actress, like, Bayonetta herself, tells everybody, don't buy this fucking game, spend the money, and donate it.
Yeah.
So, day of the game, October 28th, you know where she tells you to go donate this money? She lists a whole bunch of charities, and a bunch of them are anti-abortion charities. She tells you to go donate to, instead of buying Bayonetta 3 and helping the studio that made this game.
I didn't know that last part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that last part.
Oh, well, yeah, sorry to
No!
throw that bomb on you. But...
No. Like that.
Like, that was finally, like, the day of the game comes out, like, excuse my language, fuck this bitch, I'm gonna buy 2 copies of Bayonetta 3.
Like, yeah, just... Wow.
That was a turn I didn't see coming.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, we have largely avoided controversy, but I just want to make it very clear. I don't want to speak for either of my co-hosts, but I am very, very much pro-choice here. Again, I don't want to speak for Shoshima or for Samurai, but that is like... that is a very, very like sensitive and personal topic. You know, abortion. All three of
Correct.
us are guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
don't feel all three of us have a real right to tell anybody what to do.
yeah, and
But
But I do want to say that what she did was absolutely vile.
yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah. That is, I think,
Um,
something all of us are in agreement on. Is I
yeah,
wouldn't put it as colorfully as Shoshima, but I will, however, add a little bit of color and say, God damn, that is fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm. Like, because honestly, for the first couple days, I felt like, am I allowed to like want to buy this game?
Yeah.
Because the whole internet was on her side.
Mm-hmm. Oh, seemingly the whole internet.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's in my bubble. That's how it felt, at
Yeah,
least.
it was mob justice in its best, and that is
Mhm.
the downside, right? Is that it's like anyway, that's a whole complicated issue, but yeah,
Yeah.
everyone loves a good underdog story.
we do,
And this just ain't it, Chief.
yeah,
No.
and especially one, and what makes this worse, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
is that it's based on a real life struggle that is
Correct.
actually happening.
That other people are attempting to fix.
Yeah, and fight for and champion, and she basically portrayed herself as a false prophet here.
Yeah. I mean, and now next time someone like does the same thing or like says they didn't get paid enough, people are gonna remember this event and be like,
Mhm.
no, I don't really believe you.
Yeah, and that's the problem is it undercuts the movement she of her fellow actors and actresses. It undercuts the entire argument, and of course now it brought a whole bunch of controversy and bad publicity to a studio
Mm-hmm.
that by most metrics seems to be doing at least didn't make a colossal mistake here, offered a pretty fair wage. So
I've heard back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not too well versed in like the voice acting world to know like what a fair wage is.
neither am I. Samurai, do you have any
yeah.
insight on that?
No, because it's all negotiations. So
Mhm.
I mean, it kind of it's one of those things where it depends on your status. You know how much in demand are you in?
Mhm.
So I mean, it could be a lot, like, or could be $150.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
yeah.
yeah.
But just one thing I kind of want to address, because I know a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, what was it like across 4 sessions with a possibility of 5, right? Was that the amount?
Yeah, it was like 4 to 5, and then like 4 to 5,000, or was it 3 to 5,000? No, 4 to 5,000 per session.
Yeah. So but it was 4-hour sessions, right? And it was
Yeah.
4 to 5. So you're looking at 16 to 20 hours.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would look at that and go, okay, for like if you're applying that to like a standard Monday through Friday job, right?
Yeah.
40-hour work week. That's half a week's worth of work.
Correct.
But the
Mhm.
difference is that with voice acting is that you risk damaging your voice if you don't manage and
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
limit your exposure. Voice acting is really, really hard to do. And
Yeah.
even like me, like, recording, like, doing my stream and recording podcasts is like, beforehand I was doing my stream, I was streaming on Wednesday before we would normally record, and then we jump into a recording and we sometimes sit and record for another 2 hours. So I was in front of a camera talking for like 4 to 6 hours
Mhm.
straight. And after that, I'd be like, sometimes I'd be like, my voice would be like shot. So it's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
As it's not like as easy as people think, and that's the point I wanted to make here. Is that
yeah.
just because you hear like a 4-hour session, it's like 4 hours of like nonstop talking, often pushing your voice's limit with screaming or like shouting or grunting or whatever. You're doing a lot of like excessive things,
Correct.
potentially
It's
for 4
fragile
hours.
work.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's like you're using a scalpel but with your voice. Like you
Yeah.
have to have a fine hand and you have to know what you're doing, but you also have to take care of yourself, because if you don't have that like fine control and ability, that shit hurts.
Yeah. No, I'm not trying to downplay any of that.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to throw that out there. I know you're not, but I know there are going to be some people who listen to this podcast and go, It's a 4-hour work session. She's working 20 hours over like the course of several weeks. That's not a lot. No, it's a fucking lot. You try and sit there and scream for 2 hours straight in one session.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You
But
just
for it,
unlocked a memory. Like you seriously unlocked a memory
Go
of
for it.
SGC.
Uh
Um,
you've
I mean,
unlocked a memory in this dude's mind palace.
no, Chad James. I know this is kind of going back to
I
him.
believe it's pronounced Chad motherfucking James. That's gonna be a running joke on this podcast now. Thank
Chad,
you.
Yeah.
once again, I am so sorry.
No, I'm not.
No, I just remember throughout all of SGC, I could randomly hear "It's time for a death battle." Yeah, by the end of the con, oh, dude.
Oh, destroyed.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard him tell
God.
stories. It's like he's like swallows gravel to do that voice.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, Chad James voices Boomstick on Death Battle, which has a very distinctive
It's like a low gravelly voice.
low gravel, and Samurai, that was a very good impression, actually. Well done. But
Oh yeah, my voice is way too high pitched for that.
Dude, no, I heard it so many times at the con, like oh my God. And at the closing ceremonies.
Oh, his voice would probably be totally shot by
Yeah.
then.
Poor Chad. I mean, it was practically a whisper
Yeah.
at this point.
your
Hmm?
yeah, your voice is you
It's
gotta
fragile.
take good care of it. It's fragile. That's a really good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, personally speaking, you go to a concert and you're singing along the whole time, and your voice is destroyed by the end. It's the same general concept.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure that's a lot. Most people can relate to that.
Yeah. But it's so again, we want to stress that like it doesn't sound like a lot
Yeah,
by traditional work standards,
correct.
but it is very very difficult, and it's anyone who can do that. I mean, my hat is off to you. Like,
Yeah,
again, if you haven't figured it out, we're pretty pro voice actor on this podcast. I think we're universal in that. Samurai here is a bona fide Stephen J. Bloom fanboy.
Yeah. Favorite voice actor all time.
Yeah.
Man, love the guy.
So we're at about an hour, so we're kind of wrapping up. But I figure while we're on the topic of voice acting, let's end with a positive note, because obviously it's pretty shitty what the original voice actress for Bayonetta did. But let's talk about a really good feel-good story. At least if you guys don't mind, I'd like to share a story with you
Okie dokie.
guys
Yeah.
relating to voice acting. So
I'm gonna feel warm and fuzzy inside.
I would hope so, because you're the one who set up the story. So
Oh crap.
yeah,
yeah, it's all your fault, dude.
It is literally all your fault. So as you guys have probably seen, I have like Green Lantern poster that Samurai gave me in the background. I've also got comics behind me here, and even right here where my finger is, that's a Marvel, like a guide to like Marvel characters, like everything Marvel. I'm a big comic guy. I love comic books, but I've never been to Comic-Con, not once. And the one time I was actually able to go was in the summer of 2008. I was scheduled to volunteer, so I would have worked like lines and stuff, and then been able to explore the con when I wasn't on shift or whatever. And unfortunately, I had a family tragedy where my grandfather passed away a week before Comic-Con. And as a result, I missed it. So to this day, I still haven't been to a Comic-Con. And Samurai, however, was one of the people I was going with who was working as well. So we had all signed up together. It was myself, Samurai, and a couple other friends. And I was, as you can imagine, not in the best headspace. For those that do not know, I suffer from depression anyway. I was diagnosed a year prior to this in 2007. And, I was sad because obviously, I just lost my grandfather and I was very close with him. And, it was not a fun time. And my phone goes off and I see it's SamuraiNoodlez. And I answer the phone.
I can just imagine his phone says SamuraiNoodlez.
Yes. This was back in the day of like when I had a flip phone.
Oh,
this was
there you
before
go.
smartphones.
Oh, dude, this was my chocolate phone.
Yeah.
That's what it was called.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
So I see Samurai is calling me, and I confess, if you want to know the nature of our relationship, my first thought was, oh, he's calling to rub it in. That was my first thought. Full transparency. And I pick up the phone and I go, "What do you
I
want?"
wouldn't blame him.
Or something like that. And all of a sudden, I just hear this like maniacal laughter on the other line, and it's not SamuraiNoodlez. And I just hear, "Do you have any jutsu to steal?" And it's Orochimaru from Naruto, which was really big at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, what just happened? And it turns out that SamuraiNoodlez had gone and met Stephen J. Bloom at like his booth or whatever, and asked him like, "Hey, could you like talk to my friend as Orochimaru?" And it was like, and Stephen J. Bloom agreed to do it, which was awesome. But I'll tell you that it's a moment that really has always stuck in my mind, because Samurai didn't have to do that. Stephen J. Bloom certainly didn't have to do that.
Oh, he did not. I have
And
questions about that.
it really, really made my day, and it really helped me get through a very dark period in my life. So, yes, so that's the story. Is that Stephen J. Bloom, Samurai got Stephen J. Bloom to call me as one of my favorite villains of all time, which is pretty cool.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably also the sole reason why his autograph costs about $100 some odd to get now. Because that year,
What, you told him he should charge extra, or what?
No.
No.
I brought
You
so
dumb
much
bitch! Charge
stuff.
$100.
I brought so much stuff, and the only thing he asked was to donate to this foundation. So I think I put in like $30, but I mean I had like 7 or 8 things,
Yeah.
and a phone call.
Two phone calls. You also called our buddy Mike. He called our buddy Mike as Spike Spiegel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That, and I also still have the voicemail that he
Recorded
made
for
me.
you. Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you were to call Samurai's number, and we're not going to dox this number, but it will almost always go to voicemail. Samurai's really bad at picking up his phone. But you will hear, "Yo, Spike here. This is Samurai's voicemail." It's like, and he's doing like in the version in the voice of Spike Spiegel, right?
Yeah.
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 So it's pretty cool. And yeah, he still has that like 12 years later or whatever it is. No, at this point it's been, God,
We're
15 years later. Jesus. But
Yeah. I keep a copy of it in like 3 different places just in case I ever
ever lose it.
access to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's kind of our feel good voice actor story. Hey, Zach, do you have anything to add to that? Like,
Yeah, because I paid $60 for just an autograph from my voice actor. What the heck? I got chipped.
yeah, Johnny Young Bosch.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you've been to Comic-Con a couple times at this point now, right?
Yeah, maybe. And we just recently bought tickets to go again.
Yeah, lucky you.
Yeah, Yeah, we've been, what, twice now?
Yeah, it'll be 3 times this year, right?
Yeah, the next year.
Or next year, yeah.
Yeah, when we go, it'll be 3 times. I spent way too much money last time.
Sounds about right.
You should hear about the time that I got trapped inside of Comic-Con, but that's a story for a different time.
Yeah, we'll probably have to bring that up another time. But yeah, so with that being said, do we want to do any final thoughts on today's episode? The return of Shoshima and Samurai.
Timmy Turner, I have returned.
I mean, that probably would have been better at the beginning of the episode, but we'll roll with it now.
Oh, well, magic of editing, right? Right?
Oh?
I'm not in.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, I'm pretty sure it won't.
So, Samurai, how about you? Any final thoughts?
We're back, bitches! Yeah!
There you go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I just want to say it's great to have you guys back. There is a plan for us to eventually. Hi, Tanner. Tanner's making his appearance.
The rounds.
Yep. There is a plan, hopefully, if everything works out, to have Chad James on again with these two. Both of them are big fans of Chad. I've actually talked about how Samurai. If you missed the episode with Chad James, at the very end, I blew Chad's mind.
Yeah.
And it was glorious. So it's arguably the best content I've ever released. So please go check that out. Even if you're not a big fan of like the Cosmere, like Chad and I are, it's worthwhile for sure. But hopefully, we'll have Chad on at some point so you guys can chat with him, particularly with Samurai. I think he'll really enjoy that. No offense, Shoshima.
Uh-huh.
But
I just like that that whole reason why I even met Chad James that day was AVGN.
yeah,
Like that's another big personality that's in there that
yeah. we'll have to tell that story in full when Chad is on the podcast. But without further ado, guys, again, it's been very nice to have you back. I did miss you, despite my dismissive attitude at the beginning of the podcast. And thanks again for taking the time to record with me.
You're just saying that. You didn't miss us.
He's right. He's calling me on my bullshit. Sorry, I lied.
Full transparency.
It's only for the recording.
Yeah, it's just for the recording. And it's only because they're born on the same day. Which, by the way, we missed both of their birthdays. So happy 30th birthday to Shoshima and happy 32nd to Samurai.
So. That's my age?
Yep. On that note, everybody, this has been episode 18 of the Lost One Podcast. Thank you all very much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye.